What up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jhammaster J, as always, coming with another Drake Appreciation Day post. Now, if you are watching this video, this is going to be the same time I dropped the Thank Me Later post. And I just want to straight up apologize to majority of the people on YouTube and Instagram, mainly because all I can tell you is school is starting to pick up this semester. So right now I'm in March and April where everything's just crunch time. And some of the videos have either been fully recorded and, fully mixed and everything and not sent on YouTube, or they just been sitting on the shelf. A lot of recorded stuff. But I'm going to be quite frank and honest with you. I've also been lazy because, trust me, when I work and I go to school and I come home, I'm just like, I just want to go to sleep. But I apologize, and I'll make sure all my material is out. And I also want to let everyone know, just so I don't disappoint you guys, I'm going to do small, short Twitter reviews of certain albums that I've listened to, and I'll just post it on Instagram before I actually give out my all-out, favorite, reviews of every album that I've listened to. I'm just letting you guys know that now ahead of time. I'm going to wait for this semester to be over before I post any more material on Instagram or YouTube. YouTube indefinitely. Instagram's going to have to take a while. You'll probably see a couple of Twitter posts and meme posts. But for now, full album reviews are just going to take so much time that, when you're on the go, I don't want to leave you guys waiting, and I apologize wholeheartedly. Excuses or no excuses. But with that being said, today is Drake Appreciation Day, and I figured I wanted to drop another review. This is Drake's sophomore album, Take Care. As we all know, Drake, a Canada artist, Toronto specifically, been in this game for a while, ever since Room for Improvement. Came in with a mixtape that was good, a mixtape that was great, another project, I'll tell you my thoughts on that, and then he came out, got signed by Young Money, and came out with Thank Me Later. Now, this album, Thank Me Later. Thank Me Later I actually liked. I thought it was a good album. I thought Drake did his thing. I thought this was number one. It was good. However, I did say, and obviously Drake has made it clear with this album, he rushed that album. He didn't really have too much time to really do all that because of pressure, touring, and all that good stuff. That he just wanted to make something that was good and enjoyable, to the point where, although Take Me Later was a very, very great and short album, it was very forgettable debut. So, with this album, is Drake going to have a sophomore jinx, or is this going to be a good track? Well, I can honestly tell you, listening to this album, and I mean, this album is 80 minutes. We're talking an hour and 20 minutes, 18 tracks. And that's just the original version. The deluxe version, or the birthday version, which was dropped on Drake's birthday, 6 minutes longer, 20 tracks. So it's going to be a chore to tell you. And I can honestly say that if you are in the mood to listen to this, you will like this album. I feel like Drake has definitely took a lot of time with this album. Compared to the last album, he wanted to make sure he came up with something that people are going to listen to. And I think this is what Take Care is going to be. This is what Take Care is. An album like this. Drake in this album, he touches up on so much. He touches up on, with Thank Me Later, that album was like an album about him just getting into fame and how he's just doing a bunch of stuff, since being signed and getting this radio play and being with Young Money. Take Care, to me, is like another chapter into that story when you listen to it. And I mean it. When you really listen to this album, it's like Drake has taken his fame to another level as this was being released. When you start off with Over My Dead Body, Drake just goes in and he just, this is like his introduction to the second chapter of this album, produced by 40 and Kurzvayek. I might have messed up that name, but oh well. And he had some pretty nice lines, about Asian girls, the Kevin Hart, that line about being on white women like Seal, and that line on slavery, which was pretty clever, and the beat, which was very, very, very moody, piano-like, and just the slow drums in the background as Drake just goes in and you hear the sample in the background, which was pretty dope. And you hear nice 2 verses and Drake just really gets in and he just gets out. It's unshot for me. Now you see a different tone where Drake is addressing the girls, that were in his past, saying, well, you know what? You slept on me. You did all this. You have Weekend in the background. You have a sample with a nice electronic booming bass, in the chorus. And in the second verse, it's just like a party electro pop percussion. And it's just Drake just saying, you fucked up. You could have been with me, but you didn't. And I hope you take a shot for me. Headline, Drake has that clever line about, be careful or you'll get hyped up, and he has a nice chorus to go with it with a wonderful beat, just a nice it's like the production was going back and forth. It was very fast paced, very low, very atmospheric, very moody, but it was like a sound. Although Weeknd took a majority of responsibility, and I'm going to shift out tracks here. When he did Headlines and Marvin's Room, Cruel Love. I mean, there's quite a few songs. You name it. Cameras, Good Ones Go, Look What You've Done. I mean, Doing It Wrong. There are quite a few. You can tell that if you listen to them, and if you really listen to some of these tracks, you can almost hear Weeknd singing them. Now, everyone, once again, people talk about the whole, this album's only good because Weeknd wrote it. And then Drake comes out and says Weeknd just produced the tracks and he gave me a few songs. We don't know. Once again, ever since Meek Mill kind of jumped out the window, we kind of don't know. It's easy to play, I know who wrote this and I know who wrote that, but, do we? You'll have tracks like Cruel Love with The Weeknd with a nice booming bass with just 2 simple verses where Drake just goes in and Weeknd just does his thing on the track. The self-titled track, the album titled track with Rihanna, obviously a nice hit with Rihanna and Drake using their chemistry. You got a nice, let me get to the features. As I just said, The Weeknd and Rihanna. Kendrick Lamar has a nice interlude, Buried Alive interlude. I wasn't necessarily feeling Kendrick's verse because this was the first time I heard Kendrick Lamar on the track. And I'm just like, it's okay. I'll probably have to come back to this more than once. Kendrick was clearly flowing on the track, but the way he did it kind of just, for me, when I initially heard it, turned me off. But after a couple of listens, I'm like, okay, Okay, I see why people liked him. And this is during the time where Kendrick Lamar was starting to come in the game. You had Birdman doing the best thing he's ever done in a feature, and too bad that's the only thing he's ever done in a feature, and that's talk and not rap. Nicki Minaj has a nice verse. Andre and Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne's on, Hell Yeah, Fucking Right in the motto. Does a nice feature. And Andre 3000 does his thing on here too. But god damn, Rick Ross. I'm telling you, on Lord Knows, Rick Ross's feature was my favorite on here. Rick Ross killed his verse on there. When he did that alliteration with the B, oh man, the way he just rode that beat was amazing. How he ended was fucking cool. But let's talk about the production, because I just talked about it lightly. The production, like I said, very moody, very atmospheric at times, very electro pop at certain times. Like I said, Lord Knows, the way it just sounded like an orchestra was performing with that theatrical thematic drums that they're playing, so dramatic, but it worked. You have Underground Key, which is more lighter but just as fast paced. A lot of fast paced, like Take Care, Crew Love, Shot for Me, Headlines. The fast paced songs, which are definitely more of the pop songs, you'll definitely enjoy it a lot more. The motto. Then you have the slower productions. And let me tell you something right now. The slower productions, in my opinion, are literally the highlight of this album. There's nothing I can tell you. Shot for Me, the beginning was a slow, but then it picked up. But then when you have songs like Marvin's Room, you have songs like Doing It Wrong, Good Ones Go, The Ride, I Hate Sleeping Alone, etc. Those are where you see Drake at his most vulnerable, and that actually works for this album. It works for his character, and we didn't even begin to talk about the lyrics on this. Like I said, Drake was talking about his fame. But there are some times, man, this dude talks about some insecurities like it's nothing. You see a lot of, you see Drake You see Drake a lot when it comes to his insecurities on many tracks, like Look What You've Done, when he talks about his relationship with his mother. You talk about Marvin's Room, the fact that, motherfuckers really did not like this song because it was about calling another chick while she's happy and telling them that she could do better with him. Clearly this ain't the best of moral decisions, but you know what? It's not the point. Y'all clearly missed the point. The point is to show a different side of Drake, to show a more gray area side of Drake, while it's Common is over here talking about living a black and white life just to show a nigga's life, but that's neither here nor there. But there's just so much that he gets into. Like I said, in Marvin's Room, he's talking about calling a chick and just saying fuck her drunk at a party. But then you have tracks like freaking, oh my goodness, Take Care with Rihanna, Hate Sleeping Alone, Practice, an ode to juveniles, Back That Ass Up. There are some pretty sad songs, which leads me to my next point. Just like his last album, this album talks a lot about girls. So many lyrics about girls. Like, damn, Drake, you alright? You know what I mean? I'm sorry she hurt you. Damn, man, I thought you would be over by this time. But hey, this is Drake, right? But I'm telling you, man, it's just so much to digest. And that's where I get to my low points of this album. 18 to 20 minutes, Drake. That's too damn long, bro. Bro, that's too damn long, bro. I'm sorry. I can only listen to so much of this. I mean, it would literally, when you listen to this album, it's a chore. Like, I mean, it's literally hard to get through. No, it's not a bad album. I'm not saying it's a terrible album. It's a great album. I'm saying just going through it and listening to a bunch of songs is the tough part. Like, because Drake has moods where it's high and then it's low and then it's high again and then it's low again and it's high, that shit will make you dizzy and you're gonna have to take a break. Trust me, I recommend it. When you're listening to this album, at least take 6 tracks in, 6 tracks out, 6 tracks in. You will enjoy this. There's a couple of songs also I could do without. Not saying the majority of these songs were bad. It's just you could take a few songs out. I'm just saying. For instance, Hell Yeah Fucking Right. That song needs to go. The Real Her, although the Andre 3000 verse was good, that you can ask that too. Will Be Fine only because Burn Man's on it. Period. And y'all gonna be mad at me, but I would definitely take the Buried Alive interlude out too. Or, what I've seen on certain albums, fuse it with Marvin's Room, since it's an interlude. But I would not make that a separate track. Sorry, Kendrick fans. And really, Practice can go too. Although I actually really like that song, I can do without that too. That's just me. And if y'all feel that there were some songs that y'all could take out, or y'all disagree, there's a couple of songs y'all could have taken out, let me know in the comments section. Or if you're not going to take any of these songs out, Drake, the least you can do is make a double album out of this, because this is exactly what it sounds like and feels like, a double album of music. But if you cut this track, I mean, you literally cut this track in half, you'd have yourself a nice 40-minute track of some awesome shit. I'm telling you. And that's where my complaint of that album stops, is just that. Really, my favorite tracks, obviously, Lord Knows, Cameras, aka the Good One Go interlude, particularly the Good Ones Go, Doing It Wrong, because that song personally made me cry. Don't tell nobody though. And Marvin's Room, because I wrote an essay on it and I got a B+ in my English 1102 class. Thanks for coming through on the clutch, Drake. And also, really, Underground Kings was dope too. Make Me Proud with Nicki, The Motto, and this brings me to the back end of this review. The Ride, minus the bonus tracks, of course. The Ride, amazing closer. Lyrically, Drake is just spitting. He's just rapping off a soft beat, soft drums, with a nice, but it's perfect. It's a perfect closer for this album. Where you hear Weeknd in the background just singing, it's great, man. But yeah, like I said earlier, this album is such a great album. And it sucks because as a Drake fan, for those who, don't like Drake, I was around when this album came out, and his album was mainly known for the memes that came out of it. So many Drake the type of dude memes that came out. See my Kanye West Taylor Swift video. It just, people made fun of Drake because he was that vulnerable in the album. As a man, he literally was so vulnerable in this album, and people just, wasn't feeling that kind of Drake. But really, this was such a great album. This was such a great album. In my opinion, Drake really did himself a huge service by taking his time with it, and not rushing it like he did with Thank Me Later. That's the third time I said that. Thank Me Later, where that was rushed, but this album clearly is an album that stays to say, that's here to stay. And I think, a lot of people say that, Drake doesn't have a classic album. I think this is a, if you want to say Thank Me Later is not a classic, that's fine. I think this is a classic album primarily because of how impactful this was against so many artists and influential to so many artists that this album was to people, that this is what, in my opinion, took Drake to another level. Obviously Drake did more R&B sounds on this one, more than hip hop, as opposed to Thank Me Later, which is also a difference. But I think at the same time, I think it is fair to say that this kind of change of pace is what fit the album more than it did for Thank Me Later. And, I encourage you, if you haven't listened to this album, really listen more than once. Take the time. Like I just said, it's a chore to listen to. I recommend you to at least listen to 6 tracks each day individually. You'll probably enjoy it more. I will say towards the end, it takes a little bit of a nosedive, but the songs even at the end, there's like the hype tracks, like Hell Yeah, just brings the mood right back up. And then, the last 2 tracks bring it down again, and The Ride was a perfect closer for this album. And you'll enjoy it. I promise you, if you take the time to listen and digest this album, which I also believe is why some people back then said they didn't like it. Now they say they do. They don't want to give Drake the credit. They'll say, oh, Weeknd did it, and I give Weeknd the credit. Man, just enjoy the damn music. Should you? Enjoy the damn music, would you? But either way, this is a good album. And I give this album a solid 8 out of 10. There's no I could have given this an album. I could have gotten it that. Nope. Perfect 8. No reason to strip it down or strip it up. And to hint that, Drake has hinted, at the end of The Ride, if you bought the regular version, not the deluxe, where he said, freshman was nice, and he met his sophomore, something like that, around his freshman was okay, and his sophomore was dope. He hints that his junior and senior will only get meaner, meaning his next few albums are his next few albums gonna be meaner? Well, I'll tell you next week when we review them on Drake Appreciation Day. And that has been Drake Appreciation Day, courtesy of yours truly, Jhammaster J. Let me know in the comments section if you like this album. If you didn't, if you have a chance to listen to it, if you have some criticisms to give me, go ahead. That's all cool. And other than that, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Snapchat. If you're an artist trying to promote your brand, don't, follow me on Twitter too. Do not be afraid to send me a message to say, hey, I'm a local artist. I heard your mixtape. Would you like to do some interviews? There's someone that's trying to do a logo for me, and I'm willing to pay for it. That's all good. I might put that out there. And also, just give me a moment. This semester is almost over. So once the semester is over, I'll be here delivering some nice work for each and all of you guys. With that said, this is Jhammaster J signing off with a crotch grab. Peace. Peace.